Right, and welcome to the session. We're looking at the five love languages. Now, this is a book, a very popular relationship book written by Dr. Gary Chapman. And the book explores the concept that people express and receive love in different ways, and these ways are referred to the love languages, right? And so, in summary, the five love languages provides practical insights into understanding and communicating love in relationships by identifying and catering to each other's love languages. So the book emphasizes the idea that a lasting and meaningful connection is built on the intentional expression of love in ways that resonate with the unique preferences of each partner, not necessarily your own, but that of your partner. It's quite an interesting discovery, and the book also has got a quiz that you can take to sort of identify your love language. And it's recommended that you take it with your partner or you take your partner separately, but that you know both of your love languages so that the findings carry better relevance, right? You can apply what you learn. So the different sections, quite a brief summary of the different sections. Section one talks about what happens to love after the wedding. So here Chapman introduces the central idea of the book, the concept of love languages, and he suggests that the intense feelings of love expressed in the early stages of a relationship often fade. Right? Don't expect them to last forever. They fade over time. And so that leads to feelings of emptiness and dissatisfaction. But then what happens when we're at that stage? What do we do? The next section talks about keeping the love tank full, right? Here, Chapman introduces the metaphor of the love tank, right, which represents a person's emotional reservoir for feeling loved. Okay, so if the reservoir is depleted, hey, I don't feel loved by you anymore. Maybe you depleted it, right? So he emphasizes the importance of keeping each other's love tanks full to maintain a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Section 3 talks about falling in love. Here, Chapman explores the phenomenon of falling in love and how it is often fueled by the euphoria of having one's primary love language met, right? If you are feeding on the love language of someone, chances are they feel loved by you. We also learn about in the section, the temporary nature of the in love experience, that it comes and it goes, and how it transitions into a more mature love. Okay, how you can help the I fell in love, right? How you can transition from that to I am in love with this person, right? I'm remaining in love with this person. Section 4 talks about love language number one, which is words of affirmation. And so here Chapman introduces the first love language, words of affirmation, and he explains that individuals with this love language feel loved when they receive verbal expressions of affirmation, right? Compliments and encouragement. You did well. I love how you look. You're beautiful. I love you. Okay. They pay attention to the words that are said. The second love language is acts of service, and here Chapman discusses the second love language, and with individuals who have this love language, they feel loved when their partner performs acts of service for them, such as helping them with chores or tasks, cooking their favorite meal, driving a long distance to meet up with them, fueling their car, right? We know how gas is quite expensive nowadays. So a person feels loved because you did that for them, right? The next love language is receiving gifts, which is the third love language. And here Chapman explains that for some people, tangible expressions of love, such as thoughtful gifts, are the most meaningful way to feel loved. Yes, you can tell me that you love me. Yes, you can be here for me, but why don't you buy me that chocolate? Why don't you buy me those roses? Okay, and that's how I feel loved. Okay, so a person like that, is a person whose love language is receiving gifts. It does not necessarily mean that they're materialistic, right? It's just that that's how they feel, loved. Okay. And then we look also at the fourth love language, which is quality time. And individuals with this love language feel loved when they receive undivided attention and spend meaningful time with their partner. It's quite interesting how people, especially male, who would generalize, right? Oh, because I once dated this lady who always wants me to be with her, right? We have to do, spend time together. We have to look at each other's eyes and do all this. Therefore, this is how ladies are like. And, when that relationship doesn't work and they're with another person, now they expect, okay, I'm going to be here. And that person doesn't associate that with love, right? They're waiting for you to say it. So it becomes quite interesting because things such as that undivided attention are things which females are sort of stereotyped to want. A female wants you to give them undivided attention, and men are like, no, but we can't do this. It's too much. We learned here that it is a specific love language, so that means that not every female will want this, right? I specify female because, again, this has been a stereotype for quite some time. But again, you can go on any partner, right? I just made that example because of the stereotype, that exists of females. Okay, also the fifth love language is the physical touch. And here Chapman discusses how physical gestures such as hugs and kisses and other forms of physical intimacy are crucial for individuals with this love language. Again, a lot of times men will be associated with that physical touch. Like as men, if you, touch him, if you, like brush him, if you do this, that means, he's attaching, right, your attraction or your interest in him. If you do that, and if you're really in a relationship, then hey, you must be a keeper because you're doing that, aside for giving him good food. And so again, we learned that though society has attached certain stereotypes to certain of these things, this also is a particular love language. So there can be a person who wants that physical touch. There can be a person who does not like it, or they're okay with it, but it's not necessarily a priority, right? You do it, you don't do it, it doesn't phase them. Okay. So we learn in the next section, discovering your love language. So Chapman provides guidance on how individuals can identify their own love language and the love language of their partner. Again, this is meaningful because once you know your love languages, you can actually work on feeding, that love language. And so he emphasizes the importance of effective communication in understanding and meeting each other's emotional needs. We also look at love is a choice. Okay, so Chapman challenges the notion of love is merely feeling and emphasizes that love is also a choice. Okay, so he discusses the importance of choosing to express love in a way that resonates with the partner's love language, right? You have to make, in fact, you make that choice, whether you're aware of it or not. It is a choice that you constantly are making. And then also we look at love makes the difference. So in this chapter, Chapman reinforces the central message of the book: understanding and speaking your partner's love language is crucial for a lasting and fulfilling relationship. And so Chapman highlights the transformative power of expressing love in a way that aligns with the partner's unique needs. And then comes another interesting section, which is loving the unlovely, right? It's easy to love, some people because they're just easy to love, right? And they're already lovable. But what about a person who's not lovable, right? That person that you honestly don't want to love, okay? So here the general philosophy behind this section is in the context is rooted in the understanding that individuals may have different ways of expressing and receiving love. So even when someone's behavior may be challenging or unlovable, the book encourages partners to look beyond surface actions and consider the underlying emotional needs. It suggests that by understanding each other's primary love languages, individuals can navigate challenges with empathy and compassion. So even that unlovable person has a primary love language. Identify that, feed on that love language. You'll be amazed how they get to respond to you quite favorably. We also look at children and love language. The section on children and love languages explores how the concept of love languages applies to parenting and understanding the emotional needs of children. So here Chapman explains that just like adults, children have their own love languages, and understanding these languages is crucial for effective parenting. So he suggests that by recognizing and speaking a child's primary love language, parents can enhance their connection and foster a more positive and secure environment. So that's a quick, brief overview of the different sections. And in the next part, we're going to be looking at the individual sections, in better detail. Okay. So let's move on to section 1, which talks about what happens to love after the wedding. So, section 1, what happens to love after the wedding? In the section of the 5 languages, um, um, Dr. Gary Chapman introduces the central theme of the book, right? The concept of love languages. And he discusses the introduction to love languages. Also, what are love languages? So Chapman begins by acknowledging the common experience where the intense feelings of love that are prevalent in the early stages of a romantic relationship often diminish over time. Okay, so you won't necessarily be at that peak forever. The initial infatuation and in love experience may give way to a more stable, companionate form of love. Chapman poses the question of what happens to love after the wedding, suggesting that understanding love languages is key to addressing this. So, the decline of romantic feelings. Chapman observes that the decline of romantic feelings is a common phenomenon in long term relationships. The initial passion and excitement that come with falling in love naturally changes, and couples may find themselves in a less euphoric state, right? And so Chapman attributes this shift to a lack of understanding about how to express and receive love in a way that resonates with each partner's unique needs. Okay. Um, Also, we look in this section at the importance of emotional needs. The section emphasizes that individuals have specific emotional needs that, when met, contribute to a sense of being loved and fulfilled in a relationship. So Chapman introduces the concept of a love tank, a metaphorical reservoir that needs to be filled for individuals to feel loved and secure. So especially in the early stages, you need to be filling up on this love tank, right? It needs to be filled with as much love, especially relevant love, right? Love that speaks to the particular love language of the person that you are in love with. Okay. So, we also look at the different love languages. Chapman introduces the idea that people have different ways of expressing and receiving love, which he calls, again, the love languages. So, these love languages are the specific ways that individuals feel most loved and appreciated. It's not to say they don't feel loved, because a person's love language is quality time. They don't feel loved if you tell them words of affirmation. No, 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 no. It's not to say that they will feel loved. It's just that they won't feel as fulfilled as they would if you speak their particular love language. So they will hear those words. You find in some cases a person says, "Oh, here you're telling me you love me, but you never here with me. You don't love me, right? Oh, but I told you I love you. I just don't know, but you never here with me." Okay. So the way that you're expressing to them may be good, but it may not be enough, right? It may not be hitting that spot, that sweet spot that we want. Okay. So the 5 primary love languages are later detailed in subsequent chapters. We're going to there. And just to quickly mention them: words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, as well as physical touch. So we look then at the need for understanding. The section stresses the importance of understanding one's own love language and the love language of one's partner. Okay. Now this is, repetitively stressed throughout the book. You need to know your own love language. You need to know your partner's love language. Chapman suggests that many couples experience a decline in their relationships because they may not be experiencing or expressing love in a way that resonates with their partner's unique needs. So, setting the stage for the book, section 1 serves as an introduction to the core concept of love languages. Setting the stage for the rest of the book, it piques the reader's curiosity about the factors influencing the longevity and satisfaction of romantic relationships. And so, in summary, section 1 lays the foundation for the 5 love languages by addressing the common experience of diminished romantic feelings in long term relationships. It introduces the central concept of love languages and hints at the potential of revitalizing and deepening connections by understanding and speaking one's unique love languages. So if you miss anything from this section, remember this: know your love language, know your partner's love language, speak that love language, right? Feed that love language. Moving on to section 2, keeping the love tank full. So section 2, keeping the love tank full. Now in the section, Dr. Chapman again starts off by introducing the love tank. So Chapman introduces the idea of the love tank as a metaphorical reservoir within individuals that needs to be consistently filled for them to feel loved, secure, and fulfilled in a relationship. So he addresses the importance of consistent love. You need to have consistency, right? You need to be working, creating the routine of feeding the love tank of your partner. So Chapman argues that love is not just a one time event or a sporadic experience. Instead, he emphasizes the need for a continuous and consistent expression of love to keep the love tank full. So acts of love need to be ongoing to maintain a healthy emotional connection in a relationship. So, love as a daily choice. The section discusses the idea that expressing love is a daily choice. So, Chapman suggests that individuals must make a conscious decision to love their partners consistently, choosing actions that align with their partner's love language to keep the love tank full. Also, we talked of avoiding emotional empty tanks. Chapman warns of the consequences when the love tank is neglected and allowed to become empty. Emotional distance, for example, dissatisfaction, and feelings of insecurity arise when partners feel unloved or unappreciated. It becomes crucial for couples to understand and consistently express love in ways that resonate with each other. So also we look at tailoring expressions of love. The concept of tailoring expressions of love, to align with the partner's primary love language is introduced in this section. It's not about saying, well, I love the way I want to be loved. No, no, no. I love the way that someone else, yearns to be loved the most. Okay. It could be that you operate on different love languages. So if that's the case, if you are loving the person the way that you want to be loved, you're not filling their love tank, right? You're not. You're just making yourself feel better, but the other person it's not serving the other person at all. And ultimately, it won't be serving you as well. Okay, so you have to understand and speak the other person's love language, and that is essential to avoid misunderstandings, and to ensure that the expressions of love are effective in fulfilling that love tank. We look also at effective communication of love. Chapman emphasizes the need for effective communication in expressing love. It involves understanding one's own love language, recognizing the love language of the partner, and actively communicating in a way that resonates with the partner's emotional needs. And then the connection to long term relationship satisfaction. The section ties the concept of keeping the love tank full to long term relationship satisfaction. Chapman suggests that couples who consistently express love in ways that align with their partner's love languages are more likely to experience lasting fulfillment and happiness in their relationships. So then we look at application of love languages. The love tank concept sets the stage for the exploration of specific love languages. In subsequent sections of the book, we're going to be looking at that. So Chapman suggests that learning and applying the love language, of someone else, of the person that you want to love, right? He shares that that there are practical ways to keep the love tank full and maintain a strong emotional connection. And so, in summary, the Keeping the Love Tank full section underscores the importance of consistent and intentional expressions of love in a relationship, introduces the love tank concept as a central metaphor, and lays the groundwork for understanding how love languages can be applied to keep the emotional reservoir full and relationships flourishing. Okay, so again, if you miss everything from this section, remember this: consistently fill the love language or feed the love language of your partner, or consistently fill the love tank of your partner. Okay, so the next section we're going to be looking at is falling in love. The next section we're looking at falling in love. In The Five Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman, the section on falling in love explores the initial stages of a romantic relationship, right? That intense emotion, right, associated with falling in love, and the natural progression of these feelings. Okay, it's quite an interesting phenomenon that he takes the time to explain. So, in this section, we look at the intense experience of falling in love. Chapman begins by acknowledging the powerful and exhilarating experience of falling in love. He describes the initial stages of a romantic relationship as a time filled with passion, excitement, and an overwhelming sense of being in love. During this phase, individuals often experience a heightened emotional state and a strong attraction towards, each other. Also, he discusses the temporary nature of the in love experience, right? It comes, but it doesn't stay forever. It's temporary. So, Chapman introduces the idea that the intense emotions of being in love are temporary. He explains that the initial euphoria and the infatuation that characterize the stage naturally change over time. The chemical reactions and hormonal influences that contribute to the intense feelings begin to wane, right? So, in other words, if you based everything on those feelings, you're going to hit rock bottom when you realize that the feelings don't last forever. Okay, there has to be some logic applied to this. And then also we look at transitioning to a mature love. The section discusses the transition from the initial stage of being in love to a more mature and stable form of love. So Chapman emphasizes that while the intense emotions of the early stage are temporary, they pave the way for a deeper, more meaningful connection. And that mature love involves a commitment to mutual growth, understanding, and shared experiences. We look also at navigating challenges in the transition. So Chapman acknowledges that the transition from the intense in love experience to a more mature love can pose challenges for couples. The initial excitement may diminish, leading some individuals to question the strength of their relationship. Understanding the natural progression of love becomes crucial in navigating these challenges, okay? Should be able to navigate these challenges and work your way past the challenges, right, to something more stable and more mature. We look also at the role of love languages in sustaining love. So, Chapman introduces the concept that understanding and speaking each other's love languages play a vital role in sustaining love beyond the initial stage of falling in love. So he suggests that as the intensity of the in love experience subsides, couples need to learn how to express love in ways that resonate with their partner's unique emotional needs. So it becomes more about how you feed the needs of your partner. Okay. And remember, we keep saying, and we will continue saying in this book, right? You need to know the language that they speak so that you speak that language as well. You feel that love tank. So then we look also at appreciating the depth of mature love. The section encourages readers to appreciate the depth and richness that mature love can bring to a relationship. While the initial stage of falling in love is characterized by passion and excitement, mature love is marked by a deeper emotional connection, shared history, and a commitment to each other's well being. Okay, so there's a commitment involved in the mature kind of a love. We look also at navigating the challenges of long term love. Chapman acknowledges the challenges that may arise in long term love and suggests that understanding and applying the concept of love languages can help couples navigate these challenges. So, the goal is to build a lasting and fulfilling relationship based on a foundation of mutual understanding and experiences of, rather, expressions of love that resonate with each other's unique needs. And so, in some the falling in love section of the five languages provides insights into the dynamics, of romantic relationships, the temporary nature of the intense love experience, and the importance also of transitioning to and sustaining a mature, meaningful love through understanding and expressing love languages, right? The right love language. Okay, so we'll move on to the next section where we're going to look at the five love languages, starting with words of affirmation. Coming up next. All right, so let's look at the first love language, words of affirmation. Okay, now this section explores the love language where individuals feel most loved and appreciated through verbal expressions. Okay, needing to hear the words. Okay, needing to hear and be softened, flattered, call it that, right? So we look then at introduction to words of affirmation. Chapman introduces the love language of words of affirmation as one of the primary ways individuals express and receive love. He explains that for people with this love language, words have a profound impact on their emotional well being and feelings of love and validation. And in most cases, you'll find that a person who speaks this love language generally pays attention to words. Okay, they'll pay attention to what word they will use towards you. Okay, so they pay attention. Words carry a lot of meaning, and which is why those words of affirmation, they carry impact. If you say this word instead of that word, right? In some cases, even with this tone. Okay, you said it in this tone, in this pitch, right? You took a bit of a breather when you were saying it this way, right? Or you said it, with this expression, but they pay attention to all that's associated with what you say. Okay, so it's quite interesting to know, people of this love language, and also to understand if you are with a person, a partner who speaks this love language, then just make it a mission to pay attention to the words that you use, and how you use them, because you'll find that they generally will pay attention to words in general. We look also at the power of positive words. Okay, so Chapman emphasizes the power of positive and affirming words in building a strong emotional connection. So, compliments, words of encouragement, and expressions of love are seen as essential elements for individuals who value words of affirmation. Positive affirmations can uplift and validate the recipient, contributing to a sense of security and love, right? Again, if they only have this, or if they have this a bit too much, sometimes people can take advantage, right? Because people would easily just flatter, they'll use words to flatter you, okay, to trick you. They want to scam you. They use words. So, I would say people of this love language, as tend to be corrected, are very, can be very vulnerable to certain of these things, because if someone uses the right words, consistently, right, regardless of whatever mission, agenda they have towards or against you, it can work either way. And that goes generally for any of these love languages anyway. So we look also at encouraging and complimenting, right? The section it delves into the importance of specific types of affirming words, such as encouragement and compliments. Okay, so encouraging words provide support and motivation, while compliments acknowledge and celebrate the qualities and actions of the recipient. Okay, you want to be able to say, hey, I acknowledge what you did, right? I'm proud of you for what you accomplished. Okay, oh, thank you for this specific thing that you did, right? They're paying attention to that. So Chapman suggests that regularly using these types of affirmations is key to meeting the emotional needs of individuals, particularly with this love language. Also, we look at expressing love through verbal communication, right? Chapman encourages readers to express their love through intentional and thoughtful verbal communication. So it's simple, well, yet heartfelt expressions of love, right? Appreciation and admiration can significantly impact a person whose primary love language is words of affirmation, okay? Again, don't just live it out. Say it, verbalize feelings, right? Verbalize this, it becomes a powerful tool for building and maintaining a strong emotional connection with the person who speaks this love language dominantly. And then we also look at addressing the negative impact of words. Again, words have a positive as well as a negative impact. So Chapman also addresses the potential negative impact of words for individuals with this love language. So if you criticize them, right, again, don't overly do it. They are paying attention to every word that you say. Harsh words or a lack of positive affirmation can deeply hurt and affect individuals who value words of affirmation. So the section highlights the importance of being mindful of the impact of words on the emotional well being of one's partner. Okay, so you get those partners that are just critical, they're just harsh, they just speak whatever it is, they're rude, okay, and they affect their partner who has words as words of affirmation as a love language. Okay, so the more this person, even though they're angry, they don't realize how deep of a cut they exerting on their partner. Even if they're going to apologize later on, the words that were said, they're not going to go away. They're going to sink. So, using words to build emotional intimacy, the section explores also how using words of affirmation can contribute to building emotional intimacy in a relationship. So, sharing thoughts and feelings and affirmations, it can foster a deep understanding between partners, and it helps create a safe and loving emotional environment. So we look also at the connection to self esteem. Chapman discusses how affirming words play a crucial role in shaping an individual's self esteem. Okay, especially for those with this love language. So, regular positive affirmations can contribute to a positive self image and a sense of being valued and loved, right? I'm proud of you. Thank you for this. Okay, I acknowledge your effort. Wow, you're such a great dad. You're such a great mom. Okay. So also we look at practical suggestions for words of affirmations. The section provides practical suggestions for incorporating words of affirmation into daily interactions. So Chapman offers examples of affirming statements and encourage readers to be creative and sincere in expressing love through words. And so, recognizing and meeting the need for words of affirmation, he emphasizes the importance of recognizing and meeting the need for words, in a partner who speaks this as a main love language. Understand and actively incorporating affirming words into the relationship contribute to a fulfilling and emotionally satisfying connection. If you know that your partner speaks words of affirmation as their love language, just make it your mission to have something positive, uplifting, motivational to say to them every single day. It'll go, you know, a long way into helping your relationship, right? Strengthening your relationship. And so, in summary, the words of affirmation section highlights the significance of verbal expressions for individuals with this specific love language. It also provides insights into the power of positive words, the impact of verbal communication on emotional intimacy, and the practical ways to meet the emotional needs of those who value words of affirmation. So then we move on to the next part, which is speaking on the love language quality time. Moving on to the next one. So the next one is quality time, and this love language, this section explores the love language where individuals feel most loved and appreciated through meaningful, undivided attention. Okay, so again, an introduction to quality time. Chapman introduces quality time as a primary love language that emphasizes the significance of spending meaningful, undistracted time with one's partner. So, quality time focuses on the idea that genuine connection and emotional intimacy are built through intentional and focused interaction. So, we look at presence and attention. Chapman underscores that for individuals with the love language of quality time, the mere physical presence of a partner is not enough. The emphasis is on undivided attention and being fully present in the moment. It involves setting aside distractions and genuinely engaging with each other. We look also at shared experiences. The section explores the importance of shared experiences in quality time, engaging in activities together, whether they are planned outings, hobbies, or simple moments of togetherness, contributes to the emotional connection between partners. The emphasis is on the quality of the shared moments rather than the quantity. Okay, it's not about, hey, I spent 8 hours with you, but what was the quality of our quality time, right? What is the quality of our time together? So then we also look at quality conversations. Chapman here discusses the role of quality conversations in the context of quality time. Meaningful and deep conversations where partners actively listen and share thoughts and feelings are vital for those who value quality time. The exchange of ideas and emotions strengthens the emotional bond. We look also at technology and quality time. The section addresses the impact of technology on quality time. And Chapman suggests that the pervasive use of smartphones and other devices can hinder genuine connection. Quality time involves putting away distractions, including digital ones, to focus on each other. We look also at creating special moments. Chapman encourages readers to create special moments within the relationship, whether through planned dates, surprise outings, or spontaneous expressions of affection. These moments contribute to the emotional bank account and reinforce the sense of being loved through quality time. We look also at balancing time and prioritizing relationships. The section explores the challenge of balancing time and priorities. Chapman discusses the need to intentionally allocate time for one's partner amid the demands of quality life. So, prioritizing relationships and making sure, rather making time for quality is crucial for individuals who value this love language. And so quality time, is an emotional investment. And so Chapman frames quality time as emotional investment in the relationship. The intentional choice to spend time together demonstrates a commitment to nurturing the emotional connection and maintaining a strong foundation for the relationship. So we look also at understanding alone time and quality time. The section addresses the potential misconception that individuals who value quality time are always seeking companionship. Chapman clarifies that quality time also involves respecting the need for alone time, acknowledging that shared solitude can be meaningful for some individuals. So, for example, you can be together, each working on their own different projects, maybe in the same room, right? You reading the book and one is working on their assignment in the same room in silence, it still would feel as quality time for a person who values that quality time. So, in other words, that's what we'll refer to as shared solitude, right? Yeah, we are alone, but we are together, in a positive way, not that it's in the negative way, which has got other kind of results. So, meeting the emotional need for quality time, Chapman emphasizes the importance of recognizing and meeting the emotional need for quality time in a partner. If you understand the love language of quality time, it involves actively engaging in shared experiences, quality conversations, and moments of genuine togetherness. Okay, again, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. It needs to be genuine, right? You need to be present, you need to be here. Okay. And so, in summary, the quality time section of the five love languages underscores the importance of intentional and focused interaction for individuals with this specific love language. It explores the nuances of shared experiences, meaningful conversations, and the emotional investment that is required to meet the unique needs of those who value quality time. Okay? And so we move on to the next one, which is receiving gifts. So, moving on, receiving gifts. This section explores the love language where individuals feel most loved and appreciated through thoughtful, all right, underline thoughtful and meaningful gift giving, right? They associate how much you love them with how much thought you put into that gift, right? Yeah, and just how maybe even expensive the gift is, right? So they attach, your love through the kind of gift that you give them. Introduction to Receiving Gifts. Chapman introduces receiving gifts as one of the primary love languages, emphasizing the significance of tangible expressions of love. So there should be some tangibles. You can't just tell me you love me, but some tangible things I should be able to see. So, for individuals with this love language, the thought, effort, and intention behind a gift hold immense emotional value, right? It's the thought that counts, right? People who say that and who mean it generally are of this love language. Also, the symbolism of gifts. Chapman discusses how gifts go beyond mere material possessions. Gifts, in the context of this love language, symbolize thoughtfulness, consideration, and the recognition of the recipient's preferences and desires. So it's about the emotional meaning behind the gift rather than its monetary value. So we look also at the emotional impact of thoughtful gifts. The section delves into the emotional impact of receiving thoughtful gifts. So Chapman emphasizes that the act of giving, and receiving gifts becomes a tangible representation of love and affection. It conveys a sense of being known, understood and cared for by the giver, right? Oh my goodness, my giver loves me so much that he has given or she has given me this kind of a gift. So also we look at occasions and spontaneity, right? So Chapman explores both planned gift-giving occasions, such as maybe birthdays and holidays, as well as those spontaneous acts of gift-giving. So whether the gift is carefully chosen for a specific event or given on a random day, the intention and consideration behind the gift are what matter most for individuals with this love language. So, also choosing meaningful gifts. The section provides guidance on choosing meaningful gifts. Chapman suggests that understanding the recipient's preferences, interests, and desires is crucial for selecting gifts that will resonate emotionally. It's about the effort and thoughtfulness put into the selection process. We look also at non material gifts. So, Chapman also addresses the concept that gifts don't necessarily have to be material possessions. Non material gifts, such as acts of service, can also be expressions of love for individuals with this love language. The key is to ensure that the gift aligns with the recipient's values and preferences. So we look also at gifts as symbols of love. Chapman discusses how gifts serve as symbols of love for individuals with this love language, whether it's a small sentimental item or a grand gesture. The act of giving and receiving gifts becomes a love language, right, through which love is communicated and received. Understanding the love language of receiving gifts, the section emphasizes the importance of understanding and recognizing the love language of receiving gifts in a partner. So Chapman encourages readers to actively inquire about and pay attention to the types of gifts that hold significance for their loved one, so that you don't go out there and buy chips, when your loved one would prefer marshmallows, right? You don't go out there and buy sneakers when your loved one will prefer gadgets, okay? So, balancing material and emotional aspects, Chapman addresses the potential misconception that individuals who value receiving gifts are materialistic. He clarifies that the emotional meaning behind the gift is what matters the most, and it's not solely about the material aspect. So, really, it's the thought that counts because for people of this love language, they attach sentimental value to that gift, right? Whether it be small or big, but the thought, right? The action, what was around the act of you giving that gift. All of those things are meaningful to a person of this love language. For the most part, they will also be melancholic. They have, they're quite sentimental. And so, gifts as expressions of love. In summary, the receiving gifts section of the five love languages highlights the emotional significance of gift giving for individuals with this specific love language. And it explores the thoughtfulness, the intention, and symbolic value of gifts as expressions of love. And it underscores the importance of understanding and meeting the emotional needs of those who value receiving gifts. So if that is your partner, you may want to, do something about it. You may want to put more thought. Don't just buy because everybody else is buying this gift, right? Take some time, consider, what color, does your partner prefer, right? What texture, what shape, right? And try and even incorporate those kind of things when you select the gift. It'll go a long way, for the person who values the gifts, receiving gifts as a love language. So moving on to the next one. Okay, so moving on to the next one, acts of service. And this section explores the love language where individuals feel most loved and appreciated through actions and deeds that demonstrate thoughtfulness and consideration. Okay, so for example, an introduction to acts of service, Chapman introduces acts of service as a primary love language, emphasizing the significance of expressing love through practical actions. So, for example, with this love language, actions speak louder than words, right? And tangible efforts to help support, someone else are powerful expressions of love. They're very well received by a person of this love language. So we look at the section at the power of action. Chapman discusses how actions such as doing chores, completing tasks, or providing assistance have a profound impact on individuals who value acts of service. So these actions are seen as gestures of love, demonstrating a willingness to invest time and effort for the well being of the other person. So we look also at understanding the emotional impact. The section explores the emotional impact of acts of service. Chapman emphasizes that these acts are not merely about completing tasks, they symbolize love, thoughtfulness, and a genuine desire to make the other person's life easier or more enjoyable. So we look also at everyday acts of service. Chapman discusses how acts of service can manifest in everyday life. It includes tasks such as cooking a meal, helping with household chores, or running errands. These small routine acts become powerful expressions of love when they are done with intentional, and a desire to create or contribute to the other person's happiness. You need to have that intention. It has to be deliberate, right? You're doing this act of service with the intention to show love and care to someone that you want to show this love and care to, be it child or adult. And then expressing love through deeds. The section delves into the idea that for individuals with this love language, actions are a primary means of expressing love. Performing acts of service is not just a way to get things done, it is a direct expression of care, support, and commitment to the relationship. We look also at the importance of willingness. Chapman emphasizes the importance of willingness when it comes to acts of service. It's not just about completing tasks, it's about a genuine desire to contribute to the well being of the partner. Willingness to invest time and effort is a key element in making acts of service meaningful. So also we look at recognizing and appreciating efforts. The section addresses the need to recognize and appreciate the efforts of individuals who value acts of service. Acknowledging the intention and labor behind the actions fosters a sense of validation and reinforces the emotional connection in the relationship. So also we look at acts of service as as a language of love. So Chapman, frames acts of service as a language of love that may not require words. Okay, so with this love language, even if you don't really say words, right? You don't say anything. You just, you see someone is still has a lot of work, and you do some of the tasks. You didn't say anything. They felt love, right? Someone has got a lot of, I don't know, like a driving distance, and then you just do the driving. You just drive for them, or you fill they tank with gas, right? Or you just cook them a meal that they like. So you didn't necessarily have to say anything. You just did the act, and they felt loved. Okay, so acts of service, it goes a long way again when you know the kind of partner that you're dealing with. So, balancing responsibilities. Chapman discusses the importance of balancing responsibilities within a relationship. So, acts of service should not be solely based on fulfilling obligations, but should also include acts that are meaningful and contribute to the emotional well being of the partner. So we look at understanding and meeting needs. In summary, the acts of service section of the five love languages highlights the emotional significance of practical actions for individuals with specific love language. It explores the power of everyday deeds, the importance of willingness, and the role of acts of service as a language of love that communicates care, support, and commitment in a relationship. All right, so on the next one, we're going to be looking at the love language physical touch. Moving on to the next section. So, moving on to the next love language. Okay, so this one is physical touch and it explores the love language where individuals feel most loved and appreciated through physical expressions of affection. So we look at, the introduction of physical touch. Chapman introduces physical touch as one of the primary love languages, highlighting the significance of touch in expressing love. So for individuals with this love language, physical contact is a powerful and meaningful way to connect emotionally. So, also, we look at the role of physical touch in relationships. The section discusses how physical touch plays a vital role in building and maintaining emotional intimacy within a relationship. Chapman emphasizes that touch goes beyond mere physical contact. It is a form of communication that conveys love, closeness, and a sense of security. So we also look at the different forms of physical touch. Okay, so Chapman explores the various ways physical touch can be expressed. That includes hugs and kisses and holding hands and cuddling and other forms of intimate contact. The diversity of physical touch allows individuals to communicate love in a way that aligns with their comfort levels and preferences. For example, a pat on the back, well done, right? Um, yeah, just a nudge on the cheek, a nudge on the forehead. It can express love, especially to a person of this love language. So any form of that physical touch, a gentle stroke on the shoulder, it can express that love language as well. So the power of non-sexual touch. Okay, so physical touch is not only about, that physical intimacy and sexual intercourse, but other forms of the touch as well, like what we just expressed. So the section emphasizes that physical touch in the context of this love language is not just a sexual intimacy, okay? So non-sexual touch, such as that gentle touch on the arm or a warm embrace, holds equal importance in conveying love and connection. So Chapman encourages understanding the distinction between sexual and non-sexual touch for individuals with this love language. So then we look at the emotional impact of touch. Chapman discusses the emotional impact of physical touch, highlighting its ability to release oxytocin, a hormone associated with bonding and emotional connection. Regular positive physical touch contributes to a sense of well being, comfort, and emotional security for those who value physical touch as a love language. So we look at recognizing and respecting boundaries. The section addresses the importance of recognizing and respecting individual boundaries when it comes to physical touch. Chapman emphasizes that understanding and communicating about personal comfort levels and preferences are crucial for ensuring that touch is received positively. So we look at cultural and personal variances in touch. Chapman acknowledges that cultural and personal differences may influence preferences for physical touch. So some individuals may be more reserved, while others may express affection more openly. Understanding and respecting these differences contribute to effective communication of love, through such touch. So then we look at physical touch as a form of reassurance. Okay, so Chapman discusses also how physical touch serves as a form of reassurance during times of stress or emotional turmoil. Okay, it'll be okay. A brush on the hand, back of the hand. Okay, a comforting touch can convey support, understanding, and the reassurance that one is not alone in facing challenges. So we also look at long distance relationships and physical touch. The section addresses the challenges faced by couples in long distance relationships when physical touch is a primary love language. So Chapman provides suggestions for maintaining a connection through virtual means and finding creative ways to express physical touch even when physically apart. You see people touching the screen, right? It feels though far, as though the touch is there, because there's that yearning for that touch. So then, expressing love through touch, in summary, the physical touch section of the five love languages underscores the emotional significance, again, emotional significance of physical contact for individuals with this specific love language. It explores the diverse forms of touch, the non sexual aspects of physical intimacy, and the role of touch in conveying love, emotional connection, in a sense of security within a relationship. Okay, so are you of this love language? Is your partner of this love language? Do you know? All right, if you don't know, find out. Okay, but it's quite interesting to learn that that touch for a person of this love language is attached to emotions. Okay, so there is a feeling that is attached to touch. Well, let's move on to the next section. All right. Now we've completed the five love languages. Now we're looking at discovering your primary love language. Moving on to the next section. Okay, so in this section, we're looking at discovering your primary love language. And if at this point you have not identified your love language, do take a break, right? Pause this section and go and take the quiz, right, to find out what your love language is. It'll be great to know what your love language is. You can get some free quizzes, by the way, of what your love language is, and it will be more beneficial for you to know what that love language is. By the way, you'll find that in some cases you'll have not just the only or not just only one love language. You'll have the main one, you'll have a secondary one, and a tertiary love language. You could have three, all right? But just find out which ones are your love languages, which ones are more dominating or more dominant than others. So, in this section, again, Introduction to Discovering Your Love Language, Chapman begins by highlighting the importance of self awareness, okay, in understanding one's emotional needs and preferences in a relationship. He introduces the idea that people have different ways of giving and receiving love, and discovering one's primary love language is crucial for building and maintaining meaningful connections, okay? So we look at the five love languages, the overview. Chapman briefly recaps the five love languages, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And then he explains that each person has a dominant love language, which is the primary way they feel loved and appreciated. Okay, we'll also look at reflecting on past experiences. Chapman encourages readers to reflect on past experiences, to identify patterns and situations where they felt most loved. By examining positive and negative emotional responses to various expressions of love, individuals can gain insights into their own love language. Okay, so we look also at observing personal expressions of love. The section suggests paying attention to how individuals naturally express love to others. Chapman proposes that the way people express love to others often aligns with their own primary love language. Observing these patterns provides additional clues to one's dominant love language. So, in other words, if you're trying to find out what your love language is, take the time to see how you naturally express love to someone else, because in the most part, especially if you're not aware, the way you show love to someone else is actually the way that you want to receive that love. So the way you give that love is according to your love language. If you easily will tell someone else that you love them and that's what you naturally do, it could mean that you are the one who has words of affirmation. If you're making gifts and buying gifts, it could mean that you are the one who is receiving gifts as the love language. Again, that also makes it easier to identify your kids, right? If you have this child who's always busy making gifts for teachers at school and making gifts for everyone, right? It could just be that that's how they express their love, and that's the way that they would like to receive love, and that's their love language. So it is quite helpful to take note of that. And then taking the love language quiz. Chapman provides a love language quiz in the book, to help readers identify their primary love language more formally. Okay, again, it's in the book, also online. You can find it on his website. The quiz consists of a series of questions that promote or that prompt individuals to consider their preferences and emotional responses in different scenarios. The results of the quiz can often clarify, right, what your dominant, even secondary, even tertiary love language is. And then you have to analyze the quiz results. Chapman guides readers through the process of analyzing their quiz results. He explains the significance of the highest score and how it indicates the primary love language. Additionally, he suggests paying attention to the second highest score, as it may reflect a secondary love language, and that holds importance. And so that's the case also with a tertiary score, that could help you understand your tertiary love language. So, understanding personal preferences, the section emphasizes the uniqueness of individual preferences in expressing and receiving love. So, Chapman encourages readers to understand and accept their own love language without judgment, but also recognize that everyone's needs are different. So, not everyone is going to have the same love language as you. Okay, so then we're looking at communicating love language to partners, right? Chapman discusses the importance of communicating one's love language to your partner. Expressing how one feels loved and appreciating helps foster mutual understanding and ensures that both parties are actively contributing to each other's emotional well being. It's like giving the other partner a map that, hey, if you want to go to my heart, this is the roadmap, okay? And then they can work towards reaching your heart, okay? Because now this is your love language. So, being open to change, this is also very important. The section concludes by noting that individuals may find their love language evolving over time, right? Influenced by love experiences and changing needs. So, being open to this evolution and communicating with a partner about these changes is key to maintaining a healthy and adaptive relationship. Because sometimes you find that you grow up with the full belief that this is your love language, but it could could be that maybe it was not really your love language, but that was the love language which was fed by that community, by that area that you're in, right? And so you sort of convince yourself that this is your love language, but later realize that actually here's one that sprouts, maybe that could be your genuine, your original love language, which may have been suppressed in some cases. Imagine if your love language was words of affirmation, but no one told you that they love you, right? Or you never were fed that. So you can grow up and it sort of is subsided. It's there because it's yours. But now, you do other things, right? Chores, for example, quality time to express love, and only later on, when someone meaningful in in your life starts to use those words of affirmation, it brings out, what had been suppressed, and you just find that you are attracted to this person. They speak in this love language which you didn't even pay regard to because it was suppressed, it was not fed. So those kind of things do happen as well, which is why in some cases it will even feel like the love language has changed, but it has always been the case. Or maybe it can change, right? Different interests, different, the growth as you transform, it can change. But in most cases, it could have been that it was not fed. Right, and then it only was fed later on in life, and then you discover it that, oh, actually, this is my love language. And also being open to change, in knowing that if your partner's love language is different to yours, you may need to make changes in how you show love to them, right? The way you want to receive love does not have to be the way that you give love to your partner, especially if you are speaking different love languages. So then we also look at application in relationships. Chapman encourages readers to apply their knowledge of love languages in their relationships, both in understanding their partner's preferences and expressing love in ways that align with their partner's primary love language. You need to know that primary one. So in summary, the discovering your primary love language section provides practical guidance for individuals to identify their dominant love language, fostering self-awareness and enhancing their ability to build more meaningful and fulfilling relationships. Everybody wants that, right? So it's quite important that you'll take the time to discover yours, okay? And take the time to discover that of someone else. In the next section, we look at love is a choice. All right, so love is a choice. The section delves into the idea that love is not just a fleeting emotion, right? Yeah, don't just confide love to this feeling that comes and goes, but it is a conscious decision and an ongoing commitment. Okay. So Chapman introduces the concept that love is more than just a feeling, it is a choice. He challenges the notion that love is solely based on romantic notions and suggests that true, lasting, long, love requires intentional decisions and actions. So we look at beyond romantic feelings. The section emphasizes that while the initial stages of a relationship may be characterized by intense romantic feelings, those feelings are not sustainable in the long run. So Chapman argues that true love involves the deliberate choice to commit, prioritize, and actively nurture the relationship. We look also at understanding the emotional love tank. Chapman revisits the metaphor of the love tank introduced earlier in the book. We remember the love tank, right? So he explains that just as a car needs fuel to run, relationships need continuous love and effort to thrive. Choosing to fill the emotional love tank becomes a crucial aspect of sustaining a healthy and fulfilling connection. So, choosing to speak the love language, Chapman extends the idea of choice to the expression of love languages. He suggests that choosing to understand and speak one's partner's love language is a deliberate decision that contributes to a deeper emotional connection. It involves actively learning and applying the ways in which love is best received by the partner. So we look also at navigating challenges. The section acknowledges that every relationship faces challenges and conflicts are inevitable. But Chapman suggests that choosing love involves navigating these challenges with a commitment to understanding, to compromise, and effective communication. So, love in this context is a decision to work through difficulties together. We look also at the impact of negative words and actions. Chapman discusses how negative words and actions can harm a relationship. Choosing to speak positively and refrain from hurtful behaviors becomes an integral part of the choice to love. The conscious decision to build up rather than tear down is emphasized. Extending grace and forgiveness. Chapman explores the role of grace and forgiveness in choosing love. He suggests that in the face of mistakes and imperfections, choosing to forgive and extend grace reflects a commitment to the relationship's well being. So, love as an act of the will. The section reinforces the idea that love is not solely an emotion, but an act of the will. It's a choice to prioritize the needs of the partner, to be selfless, and to actively contribute to the growth and flourishing of the relationship. We look also at intentional acts of love. Chapman encourages readers to encourage or to engage in intentional acts of love. These can be small daily gestures that reinforce the choice to love, whether it's expressing gratitude, performing acts of service, or simply spending quality time together. So, the transformative power of love, in summary, the Love is a Choice section underscores the transformative power of choosing to love. It shifts the perspective from love as a passive emotion to an active decision. Okay, so you can't just say, I fell in love, it came and it hit me, it was a mistake, I bumped into love. No, however you may have received that love initially, love is a choice comes and says you sustain it through deliberate actions, okay, through sheer will, okay, that commitment. You have got to choose to continue with this. It has to be that conscious decision that is going to be in play to sustain a love relationship. So, also, highlights the continuous effort and intention that's required to maintain a strong, enduring, and fulfilling relationship. So, on the next session, we look at how love makes a difference. The next section, we're looking at Love Makes a Difference. And in this section, Dr. Gary Chapman explores the profound impact that love expressed through the understanding and application of love languages can have on relationships and individuals. Okay, so in this section, we look at the transformative power of love. Chapman begins by highlighting the transformative power of love. He suggests that love, when expressed in ways that resonate with a person's unique love language, has the ability to bring about positive change, healing, and growth within a relationship. Also, when we understand emotional needs, this section emphasizes the importance of understanding and meeting the emotional needs of individuals within a relationship. Everybody has those emotional needs, right? You want to be the one to can cater to the emotional needs of your partner. So Chapman argues that love languages provide a practical framework for recognizing and addressing these needs, leading to greater emotional fulfillment and satisfaction. Also, filling the love tank. Chapman revisits the concept of the love tank, which was introduced earlier in the book. He explains that when individuals actively choose to express love in a way that aligns within their partner's love language, they are effectively filling the love tank. So, a full love tank contributes to a sense of security, well-being, and happiness. Right? Everybody, it's one of those needs, the need for being loved and that sense of belonging. It's one of the basic needs, one of the human needs, right? Everybody has that need. Impact on communication. Chapman discusses how expressing love through the appropriate love language enhances communication in a relationship. And so, understanding and speaking each other's love languages create a deeper level of connection and comprehension, reducing misunderstandings and conflicts. Also, we're looking at enhancing intimacy. The section explores how love languages contribute to enhancing emotional and physical intimacy. So, by actively engaging in behaviors that resonate with their partner's love language, individuals foster a stronger bond and create a more intimate connection. So, building a strong foundation, Chapman suggests that the consistent application of love languages builds a strong foundation for a lasting and fulfilling relationship. It involves a commitment to ongoing efforts to express love in ways that are meaningful to each partner. Remember, meaningful to the partner, not necessarily just yourself. So, thus reinforcing the emotional connection. Anybody have any past wounds, right? This section also highlights how love can heal those past wounds. So, the transformative power of love is discussed in the context of healing past wounds. Chapman proposes that understanding and applying love languages can apply a crucial role in overcoming past hurts and building trust, creating an environment conducive to healing. We look also at creating a positive cycle. Chapman introduces the idea that expressing love through love languages creates a positive cycle within a relationship. So, as partners actively respond to each other's emotional needs, it reinforces a sense of mutual appreciation and reinforces their desire to continue expressing love in meaningful ways. So then we talk also of the ripple effect. The section explores how love, when expressed through love languages, has a ripple effect beyond the immediate relationship, right? There's a way of affecting other areas of your life in a positive way. So Chapman suggests that individuals who feel loved and fulfilled in their primary love language are more likely to extend love and kindness to others, creating a positive impact in broader social circles. Then we look at long term relationship satisfaction. Chapman concludes by highlighting the connection between the consistent application of love languages and long term relationship satisfaction. Understanding, appreciating, and actively responding to each other's love languages contribute to a relationship that stands the test of time. And so, in summary, the Love Makes a Difference section of the Five Love Languages underscores the transformative influence of expressing love through the understanding and the application of love languages. Remember, of your partner's love languages. It highlights the positive impact on communication, intimacy, and overall relationship satisfaction, emphasizing the profound difference that love, expressed in meaningful ways, can make in the lives of individuals as well as in the lives of couples. So on the next section, we look on loving the unlovely. All right. How do you love a person who's not really love material? Interesting. All right. That follows on the next section. So the next section, loving the unlovely. This section addresses the challenging yet essential concept of extending love and understanding even when faced with difficult or unlovable behavior. So, in this section, we look at the challenge of loving the unlovely. Chapman introduces the notion that everyone at times exhibits unlovable behavior, whether it's due to stress, personal struggles, or simply human imperfections. Individuals may act in ways that are difficult to love. The challenge lies in finding ways to express love even in the face of such behavior. So we look at choosing love as a response. Chapman emphasizes that love is a choice, and individuals have the power to choose their responses to unlovely behavior. Instead of reacting with negativity or withdrawing affection, The section encourages choosing love as a deliberate response. So, yes, you have this person, maybe they're socially awkward, or maybe they're just, are generally rude, they're absolutely sarcastic, they're too straightforward, all right? Maybe they're even submissive, or unattractive, or whatever the reason may be. If you learn to choose love as a response, you will find a loving manner to respond to whatever behavior or trait another person may have. Understanding the root causes, Chapman suggests that when faced with unlovely behavior, it's important to seek understanding and compassion. Why is this person reacting in this way, right? Are they aware that their actions or their behavior is affecting other people in negative ways, right? Have you taken the time to inquire of this, right? Sometimes, what if a person is not really aware? This is what they have been used to, okay? And yet you don't appreciate that. Say for example, someone swears, right? They just use vulgar words in their normal expression. Okay, some people do that, and for others that's absolutely unacceptable. So this could be unlovable behavior, but why does the person do that? Are they aware that they are doing that? Has that become such a norm that it's part of their regular speech? Okay, have you taken the time to assist them through that? Or at least inquire about that, right? So, trying to understand the root causes of the behavior, whether it's stress, past experiences, or personal struggles, exposure to certain things, can create a foundation for responding with empathy and love. Separating behavior from personhood. The section explores the idea of separating unlovely behavior from the person's intrinsic worth, right? No one is their behavior. Remember, you're not your mind, you're not your behavior, right? You're not your thoughts. You're above that. Okay, so your intrinsic worth is far more than that. So Chapman encourages readers to recognize that behavior is not synonymous with identity and that individuals are complex beings with a range of emotions and experiences. So, also, we look at applying love languages. Chapman extends the application of love languages to the concept of loving the unlovely. Understanding the love language of a person exhibiting challenging behavior, right, or behavior that offends you, allows individuals to express love in ways that may be particularly meaningful to them, contributing to a more positive and supportive environment. Okay. Right, so also setting boundaries with love, Chapman acknowledges the importance of setting healthy boundaries in relationships. Loving the unlovely doesn't mean accepting harmful behavior without consequences, right? Setting boundaries with love involves communicating expectations and consequences in a way that promotes growth and understanding. So also we look at responding to criticism. Here, Chapman addresses the challenge of responding to criticism or negative behavior from a partner. Instead of reacting defensively, okay, right? I need to explain that this is not true, whatever. The section suggests responding with love and understanding, seeking to address concerns and improve communication rather than escalating conflict, right? Also, if you are on the receiving end and you'd like to express yourself, knowing how to express yourself, and not necessarily in ways that could be provocative to someone else. We look also at the role of forgiveness. Forgiveness plays a crucial role in loving the unlovely. Chapman discusses the importance of letting go of resentment and choosing to forgive, recognizing that everyone is capable of mistakes and growth. Forgiveness contributes to a healthier emotional environment in relationships. So then we look also at demonstrating unconditional love. The section explores the concept of unconditional love, emphasizing that true love is not contingent on perfect behavior. Demonstrating unconditional love involves accepting imperfections, offering support during difficult times, and choosing to love despite flaws. We look also at encouraging positive change. Chapman suggests that expressing love in the face of unlovely behavior has the potential to encourage positive change. When individuals feel accepted and loved despite their imperfections, they are more likely to be motivated to grow and improve. Also, we look at the transformative power of love. In summary, the loving the unlovely section of the five love languages underscores the transformative power of choosing to love even in challenging circumstances. It encourages readers to respond with understanding, apply love languages, set healthy boundaries, and ultimately contribute to a more compassionate and positive relational dynamic. All right, so moving on to the next section that talks about children and love languages. All right, and this is the last section. We're looking at children and love languages. It explores the application of the love languages framework in understanding and nurturing the emotional needs of children. So, introduction to this section, Chapman introduces the idea that children, like adults, have unique ways of giving and receiving love. Understanding and identifying a child's primary love language can be instrumental in building a strong emotional foundation and fostering a healthy parent to child relationship. We look at the importance of love in child development. The section emphasizes the crucial role that love plays in the overall development of children. Chapman discusses how a child's emotional well being, self esteem, and sense of security are significantly influenced by the love they receive from their caregivers. So, we also look at the five love languages for children. Chapman applies the five love languages, namely words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch to children. Okay, so he suggests that each child may have a primary love language that, when understood and addressed, contributes to a more fulfilling parent to child bond. So, again, you want to have that bond with your child, you want to understand their love language, you want to feed that love language. Identifying a child's love language, Chapman provides insights and practical tips for identifying a child's primary love language. Observation, okay? Remember, a person most likely will act, or rather will give love in the way that they would like to receive it. So if your child is the kind of child that is making gifts, for you or for people that she loves or he loves, most likely receiving gifts is their love language. If your child is always touching you, always hugging you, always kissing you, most likely physical touch could be their love language. If your child always wants to be around you, wants that quality time, insists on doing things with you or with other people, quality time could be their love language. So, paying attention to a child and how a child expresses love and noting their responses to different expressions of love can help parents discern their child's unique love language. But also remember, a child could have a primary, like an adult, a primary, a secondary, and even a tertiary love language. Adapting parenting styles, the section discusses how adapting parenting styles to align with child's love language can be transformative. Chapman encourages parents to intentionally express love in ways that resonate with their child's preferences, creating a more supportive and nurturing environment. Also, balancing love language in a family. Chapman acknowledges that in families with multiple children, each child may have a different love language. So, balancing the expressions of love to meet the unique needs of each child is essential for creating a harmonious and loving family dynamic. So, don't say, this is what I do for all my kids. No, okay? All your kids are not the same, right? Take the time to observe what each and every kid is interested in and feed to the particular need of that kid. Also, teaching love languages to children. Chapman suggests that teaching children about love languages can empower them to understand their own emotional needs and those of their siblings. This understanding can foster empathy, effective communication, and a sense of shared responsibility for maintaining a positive family atmosphere. Okay, so also we look at practical application of love languages. The section provides practical examples of how parents can apply each love language to their interactions with children. So this includes offering words of affirmation, engaging in acts of service, providing quality time, giving thoughtful gifts, and expressing physical affection based on a child's unique preferences. Okay, so let's not treat children as if they're these little people that need to be told what to do, how to feel. They actually are complete beings themselves, right? They actually have their own thoughts, they have their own personalities, they have their own love languages. It's quite amazing to discover all of this. But also, let's apply it in how we groom youngsters. So, recognizing and addressing emotional needs, Chapman emphasizes the importance of recognizing and addressing a child's emotional needs through the lens of their love language. Meeting these needs contributes to a child's emotional security, confidence, and overall well being. So, also, we look at adjusting parenting techniques. The section encourages parents to adjust their parenting techniques based on their child's love language. For example, understanding that a child with a primary love language of quality time may value shared activities, while a child with a primary love language of words of affirmation may respond well to encouraging and positive words. So, we look at creating lasting emotional bonds. In summary, the children and love languages section of the five love languages underscores the significance of understanding and applying love languages in parenting. It highlights how recognizing a child's unique emotional needs and expressing love in ways that resonate with their individual preferences contribute to creating lasting emotional bonds within families. Now, do share which has been your favorite, which one stood out for you, which one have you applied, which one is yours, right? To share your views of this in the comment section below. And also which one your child is, right? Or how you were able to identify your child's love language if they were not actively expressing it. It's quite interesting to learn stories from, members as well, to share your experience as we continue to learn together. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, evening, morning, and whatever day or time it is on your side of the world.